guys, Miss Sage here. So today what we're going to be doing is looking at making a bow and arrow out of natural materials. So I've just got some sticks and I've got a ball of string and a potato peeler and a pair of scissors as well. So all I've done is gone out and I've collected a pile of sticks. The best ones are those that are not brittle and snap straight away, the ones that have got a bit of a bend in them, because when you're making your bow and you've got your string, you want it to be flexible and not to snap. So the best one I've found so far, this is this stick. It's already got a bit of a curve in it, so when I bend it and pull back, hopefully it won't break too much and I'll get a good distance when I pull the string back to send the bow off. So I've literally just gone up, broken off the tree, and using a potato peeler is the safest way to make sure that our little fingers and hands don't get hurt. So all you need to do is peel the ends of your stick. The potato peelers that look like this are really good, or the ones that are just one straight stick, they're quite good as well. These are obviously better if you're left-handed like me, because things can get a little bit tricky otherwise. So I've just smoothed the end of my stick off so there's no sharp bits, and it's alright on the bottom. So I've got a length of string. I'm not going to cut it yet because I'm not sure how much of it I will actually need. It's so windy! So all I'm going to do is tie it around the top. And I will wrap it round a few times and then tie it again. The more you do, the stronger and more secure it will be. So I've just wrapped it round once and tied it, and then gone around a few times, tied it again, and just to make sure that it is really secure, go around a few more. Now it's up to you how you want to do it. When I made these before with other people, they've wrapped the string down all the way. It depends, it's completely your choice, it's your bow and arrow, you do what you see fit. So I'm going to pull the string quite tight, and as you can see, this, the more I pull, the more of a bend I have in my bow. So I'm really lucky with mine. There's a bit that's sticking up. It's not sharp because I made sure I filed it down with the potato peeler. It's not sharp, but I'm actually going to use this V to tie my string and make sure that it's secure. But using this straight bit along the bottom is absolutely fine as well. You might not find a stick that looks like mine. Yours might be quite stiff and brittle like this one. It's bendy at the top, but at the bottom, bend it and it is broken. So it's all according what sticks you can get hold of. Just give it a go. I think the best fun is making them rather than actually seeing how far your bow and arrow can go. And it's really tricky to do it on your own as well, so make sure that you've got an adult around to help you, especially with the scissors. And I'm just wrapping it around and around and around, make sure it's quite tight. I've still got a bit of a bend, so you can see it's not loose and it doesn't go all the way to the bottom of my arrow. It's got a bit of a tension in there. So when I'm happy, I'm just going to tie it, cut the string and tie it off. This is something that I was taught to do for forest schools, and it's one of the main activities that they like to do with Key Stage 2. So if you're in the infants, make sure you've got parental help, because it can be a little bit tricky and a bit fiddly. And we'll go through all of the rules when we're firing our bow and arrow to make sure that we're all safe in the minute. So I've tied it at both ends now, it's quite tight, and I know I can get a good pull back on it. So that's my bow. I've now got to make my arrow. For this, I would prefer a thicker stick, but I really struggle to find one. So I've got a collection of branches that I could just pull off. To be honest, I'm probably going to go for this one. It's a bit long. So I'm just going to pull any bits I can off, and this is where your potato peeler will be your best friend. It's up to you if you want to pull all the bark off or not. It's completely your choice. It's up to you how long or how short it is. And I'm literally just going to use the potato peeler to create a point at the end of my arrow. It is mega windy today, guys, so I hope you can hear me. I've spent probably just 2 or 3 minutes now, I don't know if you can see it, using the potato peeler to create a point on the end of my stick for my arrow. Now, if you look, it's not the straightest stick in the world, but I'm going to give it a go. And the ones I've found are probably the best ones, are the straightest ones, or even if it has got a slight curve, this one's got lots of knots in it, so the lumps and the knots, and they're not as good as a stick that hasn't got any. So it's just personal preference. I have taken all the bark off mine in hope that it goes a bit further. After all, I'm in competition with myself. And I'm going to try and flatten the end off as well, because I feel like it might go a bit better. So it's just trial and error. Okay, this is arrow number 2. Much thinner. It's also a bit shorter, but can you see that it's straighter and it's got less knots in it? So I'm hoping that this one will go a little bit further. I've just used the potato peeler on the end, so all I'm doing is peeling it, and as I'm peeling the stick, I'm turning it so I get a nice even point at the end. As I've mentioned before, it doesn't really matter how long or short, but obviously if you've got a bow with a big arch in it, you might have a bigger distance between the actual stick and the string, so you just want to make sure that it's long enough for that. So I'm quite happy with these two, and I'm ready to test them. The last thing I need to do before we're ready to go is, they don't sit in the bow particularly well at the moment because there's nothing for them to sit in. So I'm going to create a groove. So there's my tip. At the end of the arrow, I'm going to create one groove going downwards so the string can sit in there. Again, I'm going to use the potato peeler. This is where you're going to need help from an adult. If you've got one of these, I just keep it flat and obviously slide down. If you've got the ones that are in a long stick, they're much easier. They've normally got a point on the end, and you can either use the point or you can just have it on the side and use it almost like a knife. But with these two sticks now, I'm just going to create small grooves. You can just find something that's thin, still blunt, and I'm just sliding it back and forth, wearing it away so that eventually I've got a groove going down the back of it. These are not something that take 2 minutes. They do take a little bit of time, but they're so much fun, especially if there's a few of you sat around doing it together. You can have a little competition then to see who goes the furthest, which arrow's the best, and things like that. My groove, I don't want my groove to be really deep because I don't want it to get caught in the string when I release my bow. When I release the string on the bow, I want the arrow to fly. So if my groove goes all the way down here, it could get stuck. So I've just created one at the very top, and I'll show you. So you put it in the string. See, the string sits through the centre of it. It is fiddly. And then when I pull back, it sits nicely in there. Okay. So I'm just going to do it to arrow number 2, and I'll see you in a minute. Obviously, the thicker the stick, the longer it's going to take for you to put that little groove at the base of your arrow. This one has taken me a lot longer than the first one, but nothing too long. What I did use was I rubbed the bottom of this arrow on a stone just to flatten the edge off first, and then get my groove in. And then I've just got, right here you can see a small groove. So I'm going to show you now. The string just sits in that groove and it makes it easier for me when I'm going to fire my arrow. It allows me then to pull back. Obviously having a bendier stick for your bow and a stronger, maybe more brittle stick for your arrow will give you the best chances. So, few rules first. Do not fire your bow and arrow if there are people in front of you, okay? Make sure you do it where there is plenty of space. So if there's a few of you doing it, stand on one line and then you've got all of the space in front of you then to fire your bows and arrows, and go one at a time. And when everyone's finished, then you can say go and collect. And that way it just makes sure that you're all staying safe and that nobody's going to get hurt. So I'm going to move around. I'm going to go just around the back and of the bump now and have a go and see how far I managed to fire my bow and arrow. So as you can see now, I've got the sun on my face, where I've got a lot of space behind me. You don't need this much space, but it was just somewhere that I could go and make sure that no one was going to get hurt. And around by me where there's sheep and animals, I needed to make sure that nobody was around. So my first one I have fired, it didn't go as far as I thought it was going to, but it was still, it did still fly, which is really good. My second one then I'm having a little bit more difficulty with, because it's a lot shorter than the first one, which was the thickest. It doesn't seem to want to go as far, if any distance at all. It seems to land by my feet. So something that I've been playing with now is my bow, to see if I can adapt it to make it better for that stick, or if I just need to make a different arrow altogether. So because I've wrapped my string at both ends, if I want to make my string tighter or my my bow shorter, sorry, all I need to do is bend my arrow slightly, and then the string becomes loose. And what that allows you to do is wrap it around the top, and your arrow just gets, your bow, sorry, just gets tighter and tighter. I hope you guys have had fun learning how to make bows and arrows. I'm really sorry about your potato peeling, but send us pictures of the ones that you've made and how far you managed to get them to go. Good luck, guys. So if you're anything like me and you've just made your bow and arrow, or you're going to go stargazing and you want a quick snack, this is one of my favourite sort of campfire snacks, s'mores. These are really easy. All you need is 2 chocolate digestive biscuits and 1 marshmallow. So the bigger the marshmallow the better. So I just put the marshmallow down, make sure that the chocolate side is on the marshmallow, and bang it in the oven, bang it in the microwave for 15 seconds. So I've stopped mine a little bit early because it's 20 seconds, I haven't got one for 15. And look at it now. So it's slid a little bit, but the marshmallow has completely melted and I've got the gooey chocolateness of the biscuits as well.